Hi, and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this is episode 1170A, and today's date is January 5th, 2017, and the title of the episode is Layoffs, Store Closures, Recovering Economy? No, Collapsing Economy. Let's get into the economic collapse financial news. Now, as we can see today, the market is continually bobbing up and down, hovering very, very close to 20,000 points. We haven't hit it yet, but I still have hope that Obama is going to push the button at the right moment to bring it to 20,000 before he leaves office. Now, the central bankers and the corporate media, they're always out there letting everyone know how great it is when people are spending. Now, of course, when they talk about spending, they're talking about credit cards. They're talking about how people are taking loans out. They're not talking about people spending their currency, people spending their earned currency. They're talking about really taking out loans with very high interest. And out in the UK, we are seeing there's a problem. And this usually shows up when people can't get by, where families out there are borrowing at a very fast rate. They're putting their expenses on credit cards. The debt has hit around 66.7 billion high right now. And households, they are borrowing more than ever. Now, what's worrying about this is this usually happens, and it's usually a sign when the economy is deteriorating. People have to live, they have to buy food, they have to pay for certain things, and they put it on the credit card because they don't have currency readily available. The problem is that there's no funds to pay for all of this, and this is where people get into trouble. And what we're seeing right now is this is starting to spread not just in the UK, but also the United States. We saw it happen back in 2008, 2009 going forward, where people didn't have the currency, lost their jobs, and they started to use their credit cards. I mean, it happens. And we're starting to see this right now. We see the illusion of the economy is continuing. The initial jobless claims, well, we're at a very, very low level right now. Claims plunged to 28,000 to about 235,000. This is the second lowest print since 1973. But continuing jobless claims, they rose once again to the highest since the beginning of September. And what we're seeing right now is that these numbers are once again manipulated. Remember, those individuals who lose their job in retail, let's say, and they're only working 25 hours or less a week, and it all depends on each state, and they're not earning a certain dollar amount, they can't apply for the unemployment insurance. So if you hear 15,000, 20,000 people being laid off in retail, most of these individuals will not be claiming, even though they're counted as a full-time job. So you can see how they play upon this. ADP is reporting that the economy only added about 153,000 jobs. They expected about 175,000. And manufacturing jobs, well, they continue to slide. They're down by 9,000 in December. Construction, mining jobs, they also declined by 2,000 and 5,000. And we could see right now, jobs are not being added. The good, high-paying jobs, they are not being added. What's being added are these part-time, low-paying jobs. Now, yesterday we reported on auto sales and how the corporate media was making a big deal. But what we're finding out right now as we dive further into these numbers, well, car sales are not as good as what the corporate media wants us to believe. What we see right now is that car sales have actually dropped. Car sales at GM dropped by 4.3% in 2016, Ford by 13%, and Fiat Chrysler, well, that dropped by 33.5%. Plants that build cars were the ones mostly hit by shutdowns, and layoffs. So for all of the big three U.S. automakers, plus a number of others, sales in 2016 actually fell. And here's the breakdown. GM down negative 1.3%. Ford down negative 0.1%. Toyota down negative 2.0%. Volkswagen down negative 3.3%. BMW down negative 9.7%. Mazda down negative 6.7%. So the sales of these 7 automakers combined amounted to about 11.5 million vehicles in 2016, or 65% of total U.S. sales. And the combined sales were down 1.5% a year ago. And I guess this is what Ford meant when they said we're heading into a car recession. Now, the corporate media, they're telling us a different story. The hard data is shining through and showing us something completely different. And this is the first annual sales decline since 2009. And when we look at this, we can see that things are rapidly deteriorating very, very quickly. We see the U.S. services economy, well, it's starting to lose momentum. Services PMI is dropping. ISM services, well, that is dropping. And very interestingly, and we've been looking at what's happening over the holiday season with retail stores, and we've been putting the pieces together saying these unemployment numbers cannot be true because it makes no sense. The sales of the retail stores and even online sales, they're just not there. Black Friday, Cyber Monday, once again was a bust, and now we're starting to see the real results. And I'm not talking about the manipulated numbers that the government puts out. We're looking at numbers directly from the stores. That's where the truth lies. And what we're seeing is that stores are starting to come out and say, you know something? Things are a lot worse than we thought. Kohl's, they announced that sales were down 2.1%. Macy's right now, well, they're going to be laying off about 10,000 individuals, closing 68 Macy's stores. And sales, once again, are down in Macy's. Sears, they're announcing the second wave of store closures, bringing the total number of closures for 2017 to 150. The Limited is going bankrupt. Chico's is closing stores. Aeropostale is closing stores. And the list goes on and on and on. What we are seeing right now is a complete breakdown of the economy. Because if the unemployment numbers were true, and we were at 4.6% where people were getting those full-time, high-paying jobs, we would see an expansion in retail. We would see an expansion in real estate. We would see an expansion in manufacturing. We're not seeing this. We're seeing a contraction. The opposite is happening right now. And this is how we can gauge what's really going on. Now, what is happening, and I've said this for quite a while, is that these ridiculous, fake, illusionary statistical numbers that Obama's been putting out, the Fed's been putting out, the corporate media's been putting out, they're going in one direction. They're going to the fake world. Then we're getting the hard data of retail, manufacturing. We're going to see malls close down. We're going to see strip malls empty. I mean, we're already starting to see this, but that is the proof. I mean, just look around your neighborhood during the holiday season. Did you see boxes and boxes and shopping bags all piled up? I looked around my neighborhood. I didn't see it. I didn't see it at all. Actually, I was in the malls. Nobody really even there. And I know a lot of people, well, it's all going to online. That's why. No, what we're seeing is, yes, maybe people said, okay, you know what? Instead of going out to the stores, I went to online. But they didn't increase the sales. The sales actually dropped. So all they're doing is trading off brick and mortar for online, but the total sales is declining. So everything's not moving to online and things are getting better. We're just having a movement of where people are shopping. But they're shopping less. They're purchasing less. So what we're seeing right now is a breakdown of the system. And this is going to accelerate as we go throughout this year. We're going to hear a lot more stores close. We're going to hear the real estate industry start to completely break apart. And once Trump gets into office, things are rapidly going to accelerate. And this is why I do believe the elite, they can't wait much longer. The central bank, they need to bring down the economy now. They are looking at the situation saying, once Trump goes into office and starts digging around, finding out the truth, spreading the word, this is going to be a major problem, unless they can shut him up somehow. But they know they're going to have to do something, and we can see plans are already in the works. We see global debt hits 325% of world GDP, rises to a record $217 trillion. This debt cannot be sustained. And while all this is happening, the central bankers, they are preparing to ban cash. They've completed their test in India. They were watching what was unfolding in India. They weren't doing anything. They watched what happened. This is what they do. They observe. This is what happens when they use a country for a test case. And they watched it all happen. You know what they found out? Well, no one was put into jail. No one was pushed out of office. The people really didn't complain or rise up. And it all worked exactly the way they wanted. India effectively banned 86% of physical cash in circulation. No one who implemented this lost their job, faced any political consequence. The central bank wasn't blamed. No one was blamed. And guess what? Government taxes increased. So the global war on cash, well, it's been declared. And India has now proved that it can be done with little consequence. This is what they did with the bail-in documents in Cyprus. Everything is a go right now. Get prepared because the economy is ripping itself apart. The central bankers are prepared. They're going to be bringing it down. They'll be banning cash. They'll be implementing the bail-in documents. What is coming is going to truly be horrific. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.